All right. Hey, I'm working on this project and it's got a very complex ceiling. The design team has modeled this as a in-place ceiling family. And that's all right. It gets the shape in there, but it doesn't have any of the structure to it. So what we want to do is create this in a way that we can assign a ceiling to it that has chipboard over metal stud or whatever its construction is. So the way to do that is to edit this in-place family, and assuming it has the geometry you want, the easiest way to accomplish this is actually change it to a generic model family. And what I typically do is I call these, I give these a name, like void, or I'm sorry, form something. And why I do that is so that I can filter that out when I no longer need it, so it doesn't show up in the views. So once this is, or I could give it a mark or something that allows me to filter it out. But the reason a generic model is what you want is because you can use the roof by face tool. So here I can, anyway, it's got a type mark already, so I won't change that. I can use that to filter it out. I could make a comment, form only or something like that, anything to use to filter it out. But once that's a generic model, we can go to a 3D view. We can isolate that element. So we see that form, and now let's just assume this is a chipboard over metal stud framing. Unfortunately, the ceiling tool doesn't have the ability to do this, but the roof tool does. So I'd recommend a roof, and I would make it a new roof type, and we call it ceiling dash, let's say 4 1/4 inch chip over metal framing. And we're going to build this assembly up. So its structure is going to be metal stud. And note, this isn't a Beck template project. So if this was a Beck template, you would see all of our metal stud materials, and you'd be able to choose the 3 5/8 inch one. I believe this one just has a metal stud layer, which is fine for this example, but you would see all of our choices. And then we need to insert a finish below that, right? So we'll move that down, finish, and this will also allow this to join with walls around it. So we've got a 5/8 inch gypsum board. And again, this would be our 09 gypsum wallboard material. And so that's where I get the 4 1/4, the overall thickness. Now we also want to make sure that we input the description, chip ceiling, whatever it is. And we also want to, because we're using the roof tool, it's very important to change the assembly code to ceilings. And in this case, we'll take the drywall and plaster ceilings. Say okay. If it was a different kind, you can use a different kind, certainly. And now that we have that, we'll be able to create roof by face, boom, 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 whatever the surface is. Create roof. And then we can go back to our building section. And you'll see that this now has the different layers in there. Going to go ahead and hide that real quick. That's the form element, but we are left with an actual roof type that's real. It can be, we get the volume and area out of it, and we can use material tags to tag, the chipboard and the metal stud. So now we have a smart ceiling assembly. Hope this helps.